Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Letitia Wallace begins now.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. The Premier hasn't wasted any time on his first day in the top job talking up his government's investment in health. But with a cabinet reshuffle set to take place in the coming days and the state budget due next month, Jeremy Rockcliffe has some big tasks ahead.
A visit to the Dodgers Ferry ambulance station was high on the to-do list for the new Premier as he spruiked the government's investment in health.
That will be my focus, listening to the priorities of Tasmanians.
44 new paramedics have been employed since last year, half of those in rural and regional areas. But long wait times continue to plague the service. A recent Productivity Commission report found Tasmanians are waiting 14 minutes on average for a paramedic to arrive on scene.
The Premier knows that I'm constantly asking him for more paramedics. We need to convert many of our stations that are currently double branch stations to career stations. We need more paramedics on those urban stations to provide 24-hour coverage because they're really busy.
30 new trucks will arrive by next month and construction will soon begin on 4 new branches. Jeremy Rockcliffe is promising big spending in health and mental health, retaining both portfolios despite the major workload.
My view is that as Premier I need to take responsibility for Tasmanians' number one priority, which is healthcare in the right place at the right time.
Jeremy Rockcliffe will spend the weekend piecing together his new cabinet, which will be the government's third reshuffle since last year's state election. His deputy, Michael Ferguson, has also been put to task, set to deliver his first budget as Treasurer next month.
What I can assure Tasmanians is this will be a very focused, a very united and a very committed cabinet.
A statement the Premier will need to ring true if he is to deliver the stable government Tasmanians have been promised. Ainsley Kosh, 7 Tasmania News.
Labor will be allocating $1.5 million to playground upgrades in Hobart's northern region if elected next month. 10 Glenorchy play spaces, some up to 20 years old, could undergo renovations.
They clearly aren't fit for purpose. They clearly aren't meeting the needs of local families or enabling us to build a strong and livable community in this part of Hobart.
The federal government says it has already committed $2 million to a Glenorchy City Council play space project. Tasmania has seen another drop in COVID cases, recording around 1,800 new infections overnight. 16 people are receiving treatment for COVID symptoms in hospital. 1 person is in the ICU. There are now 12,676 active cases in the community. Police are investigating what they believe to be a deliberately lit fire at a vacant property on Wood Place in Bridgewater overnight. Meanwhile, a separate fire to 2 boat sheds in Dodgers Ferry has also been deemed suspicious. Emergency services attended the blazes on 4th Avenue at 8 o'clock last night, taking more than an hour to extinguish. Anyone with information on either incident is urged to contact Crime Stoppers. Participants of the first ultramarathon on Kunani Mount Wellington have hit the ground running, with the event attracting a combination of amateur and professional athletes.
Endorphins are running as high as the mountain. Nearly 1,000 fitness fans competed in the new Kunani Mountain Run, including some big names.
Being part of the inaugural event is always really challenging. It's really beautiful, but you don't know how long things are going to take and you're getting mixed reviews on what the course is like.
Competitors put their fitness to the test, running between 27 and 68 kilometres. Lucy being the first female to cross the finish line in the 27-kilometre event after nearly 3 hours of physical endurance.
I found the climb really long and just relentlessly rocky and gnarly, especially the further up the mountain you got. The zigzag track had been closed, so I hadn't seen that part, and oh man, maybe it's a good thing I didn't.
And she wasn't the only contestant challenged by the terrain.
Those downhills are quite hard. There's not many sections you can rest or let your legs loose.
Trail running has grown by 15% in the past decade, with organisers and participants predicting this running competition to quickly become a bucket list event for athletes. And it's hoped many athletes will return to try their luck again next year. Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
Abseiling towards awareness, the So Advarkingly Brave Challenge is educating people about breast cancer in young women. Cancer survivor Claire Simmons says a lot of thought went into the event, which saw 29 local participants go down Kanani Mount Wellington.
What else would you need to be so brave to do apart from having a cancer diagnosis? So we came up with the idea that a lot of people are frightened of heights.
Organisers have been overwhelmed by the results, with more than $22,000 raised. More than 150 of Australia's most impressive working dogs have been put through their paces for the nation's annual Yard Dog Trials in Cressy. The widely renowned event making its long-awaited return to our shores, and one breed stole the show.
They travelled from all corners of the country to vie for the title of top dog.
These are pretty big wethers, and they are testing the dogs out really well. It's ended up being a really good championship course.
Australia's premier yard trials competition returning to Tasmania after a 7-year hiatus. Today's finals, the end to 4 days of challenges in the Dust Bowl.
The aim is to get them in the straightest line through the obstacles in an even flowing motion.
But in the world of yard trials, the Kelpie reigns supreme. Smart, agile and tough, this is their arena. Of the 150 dogs on show, only 4 weren't the Australian icon.
I want a dog that's working for me, but it's got plenty of natural ability as well and stuff. So yeah, it's got to have the heart in it for me.
Robert Cox has been entering competitions for 3 decades. He brought 4 prized pooches from New South Wales, including 3-year-old Bruiser.
He's almost a step ahead of you. He knows where he's going with the sheep without really being told.
It's not just about showing off the performance of these animals, but the pedigree too to potential buyers, because a good working dog can fetch upwards of $30,000. Not only a lifesaver according to farmers, but potentially a marriage saver too.
When you're standing at the yards and you've got a couple of thousand to pump through the yards, everybody gets a bit hot under the collar. You've got a $30,000 dog that can help you, and the wife can stay under a tree with a coffee mug. You know, all of a sudden the marriage is pretty sweet when it's all done and dusted.
Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
To the TSL, where Clarence has made an emphatic statement in a 24-point win over last year runners-up North Launceston. After stealing the lead early, the Roos survived a late scare to pull off an early season upset.
The undefeated Bombers at their Fortress UTAS Stadium. If the task was daunting for Clarence, they certainly didn't show it. Kicking the first major, the second was a gift.
Lays back, it looks pretty good. Second goal to Clarence.
Another 3 goals in the first half had the Roos hopping for joy, but North Launceston responded. Alex Lee striking immediately after the break, his side clawing back the deficit to within single figures.
Here's a goal! That's a huge goal for North Launceston.
A tight final quarter tussle didn't materialise, the men in yellow failing to convert their chances in front of goal as Clarence opened its season account with a shock 24-point win. At Twin Ovals, twin goals in only 2 minutes had the Blues looking ominous. Canberra hit back in an entertaining seesawing first quarter that produced 10 goals. The second stanza was less of a contest, Launceston increasing its lead as it began to turn the screws on its opponents. The Tigers refused to lie down, but despite a fourth quarter fight back, they never gave the Blues a real scare. The reigning champs flexing their premiership credentials against the competition's dark horse. And North Hobart's Sam Caswell had a 100th game to remember.
Football though from the pocket, Sam Caswell. Fantastic finishing.
As his side booted 24 goals in a 115-point demolition of Glenorchy. Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
A 16-point haul from Jack McVeigh has helped keep the Jack Jumpers season alive after a 7-point win over Cairns. The home crowd was raucous as Josh Adams fired from the opening tip-off. McVeigh and Josh Majette were both in strong shooting form, but it was the Taipans who threatened to put an end to our finals hopes. After stealing the lead in the final quarter, a shot with 30 seconds to go, but put the result beyond doubt.
That is massive! That'll about do it.
87-80, the final score. The Jack Jumpers' next challenge is the Breakers next Friday.
Good evening. 25 today in Hobart, Launceston 24, 19 in Burnie and Devonport 22. 25 on King Island today, 25 also at Strawn, Ouse and Grove. The Friendly Beaches 23, Flinders Island 23 as well, 21 for Maria Island and Smithton, Lowhead and St Helens both 20, and a chilly day at Lyweenie, just 13 degrees. On the satellite, we can see cumulus cloud about the state with areas of clear sky around the southwest and lower east. A frontal band extends from WA to well south of the Bight with cellular cloud to the west indicating colder air. An active area of cloud can be seen inland over southern Queensland and over New South Wales. Tomorrow, a trough extends over the mainland with weak lows across the north. A cold front lies just west of Tasmania while another front lies south of Perth with a high in between. To coastal waters now, north to northwesterly winds 15 to 25 knots, reaching up to 30 knots about the lower east, south and west. Tending northwest to southwest 15 to 25 knots later in the day, reaching up to 30 knots in the south. Seas 1.5 to 2.5 metres. A strong wind warning forecast for Storm Bay, the lower east coast, southeast coast, southwest coast and the central west coast tomorrow. A shower or two developing in Hobart and Ouse tomorrow, 25 degrees, 26 in Richmond with a shower or two later, Launceston 24, a shower or two developing, showers in Devonport and Deloraine 21, a shower or two in Burnie 22, 22 also at Strawn, showers developing, and Curry, showers developing 23. A possible shower in St Helens 23, Swansea 24 with a light shower or two, 24 also at Whitemark, partly cloudy there. Looking ahead to Monday, showers about the northeast of the state, showers in the west, far south and central areas, clearing during the afternoon, fine elsewhere. Tuesday, showers about the west and far south and possibly about the far north-east, fine elsewhere. And on Wednesday, fine apart from showers about the west. A partly cloudy day ahead for Adelaide and Melbourne tomorrow, sunny conditions for Darwin and Alice Springs. Right now, clear skies in Hobart 21, Launceston 19, partly cloudy, and Devonport 19, mostly cloudy. And that's tonight's weather forecast, Letitia.
Thanks so much, Carmen. And that's all your news for this Saturday evening. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a lovely night. Good night.